What I'm showing here is favorites pages. When you do a search, an internet search, on an Android phone, you have a little ribbon icon up top, more or less like a star icon that you'd normally have in Google Chrome web browser or even IE. Anyhow, the Google Assistant favorites page is how you make favorites in your favorites page. Basically like a bookmark is the way I'll put it. Is the way I was seeing it prior. What I'm going to talk about here in a second is what's up with that. First, it's January 2nd, 2020. It's 7:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Columbus, Ohio, Gift Street, Walnut Street. With that being said, I've had a problem for at least 3 months now, and it might have even been prior to that, for the fact I've been doing some saving over the last year. And as you can see up top, it'll say private and then 164 items. With that being said, they haven't been showing up for at least 3 months. I thought they was being saved for the last 3 months. I've been going in and out, and I've reinstalled the whole phone. Not just because of this problem, but there's been multitudes of things that's been done. They should have came up within the last 6 hours. Last time I checked, if even that, probably within the last 3 hours. All of a sudden I have 164 items showing properly. And it was just curious. I was hitting it. I had FBI links saved, electromagnetical waves, EFF.org is one of the last ones. Anyways, with that being said, spontaneously on this day, all of the prior stuff that I wanted to mentally go back over, and even if it wasn't planned, just to skim over what I was already into researching, so when I do put a structure, a system together or something, that I have the steps that I took, and also some of the things that I forgot that I wanted to remember, that it'll refresh or I'll get back into what I was looking at, will be there. Strange as hell for at least, if not longer than that, at least 3 months. I haven't had nothing but 2 favorites. Every time I'd save one, it'd move the other one over, and it'd say like 2 favorites. And I'm like, look, I know I even tested it to where I just went in randomly and saved a few pages, and it would just come back as 2. Within the last 3 hours, my stuff has showed up. I don't know if it's because I was looking into law enforcement, electronics, the Fourth Amendment right, and eavesdropping, search and seizure, whatever it be, because some of it applies, some of it's hard to understand how it applies, but no matter what, all of my stuff, it's unbelievable. 164 items now show up, rather than 2, maybe 4. Talking about checking daily for the last month to see if anything happens. Don't know why on January 2nd of 2020, it just wanted to reappear. I will say some of the last searches that I was searching is Fourth Amendment rights, law enforcement search and seizures, and their lawful rights to intervene or interfere with somebody's electronics. And it'd have to be under investigation and a severity. And even still, in that investigation and severity, a person still has their rights. Excessive use, wrongful use, misconductful use. I have no proof that they was doing that, because I need to get into how to prove that solidly, evidentially, which takes tons of money. Could you imagine going up against the government, corruption, and people who are after you even without a legal reason to, and on top of a legal reason to, bluffing their way through shit, saying because you know this legal reason, we got the rights to do this, when they really don't. The only way to understand that is to get a lawyer and represent it. Just so they can try to snob. If you do that, you'll get yourself in trouble. You'll do this, you'll do that. The intimidation, the social injustice from what they're doing is chaotic. Removing of photographs, videos, interfering with the devices that I have to the point they're inoperable or they don't operate, or at the times that they're what I call jamming and interfering, the device doesn't work inside the house and outside the house, even in other states. I've said this many other times in other videos. I do not know why within the last 3 months, if not even before, because technically I was willing to come back. I was going over to Chrome Beta and also trying to double save, but that wasn't always the case. And 3 months ago I caught this, technically, even though I've been saving prior to that I've been hitting that ribbon, and I'm like, wow, I'll just be able to come back and look into what I was looking at later and re-reference when I go to talk about things, that this is where I found the information, or this is the snippet that I seen. No matter what, I'd be able to pull up that little favorite ribbon and pull it up. Nah, it's all been gone except until now. Speaking without words, harassing, stuff like that. The thought without language. Doctors push her to get sex reassignment surgery illegally. Illegal doctor operations. Implementations, just like the homosexual attacking that has happened. And I'm not homosexual. It is what I call homosexual organized crime on top of everything else. They have just masterminded a whole situation towards me. And people's like, don't you think people would pick up on it? And they do. And some of the things they do pick up is, hey, it doesn't matter. We've removed him. We have the rights to remove him basically from society type of situation. Even if it is a bluff, they make the people convinced. They make public convinced. Or they utilize lies, threats, perjury to get their way. Which has been investigated, found out prior and elsewhere many years ago. So they take advantage of that. That's somewhere else, not here. That's a whole nother situation. It doesn't matter. We're just going to keep at you. I've lost 20 years plus of my life. I don't have a life. 8 years ago, the psychiatrist said the same thing. The foundations and the basis of what normality and normal life is, it's not that I never experienced it. Somebody always interrupted that and then made it out, which is like victim blaming. Made it out that it's my fault, or made it out it's my fault that I didn't get past it. Even as I moved away, got away from those people, I never got away because they stalked, interstate stalked and followed, including government works, not just police and law enforcement. People's in here trying to get a hold of CIA to represent mental retardation and societal foundations or some shit like that, where the CIA represents some type of protection. And these guys, I'm not the one seeking it. They're in here intentionally trying to say they're going to enforce it. Whatever they can get their hands on, they're going to enforce, abuse, utilize. We are powerful, we are strong, we are taking you out. For 20 plus years. There's stories that I'll get into, the gangland shit, the organized stuff, even without gangland, even though the same punk attitude, the same ill attitudes, the same ill wills, as no different than being a thug gangster being utilized, while they're orchestrating and organizing mass amount of organization behind their stuff. Oh, well, we got a right to. It's a freedom right. It's America. We tell you what to do. You're abnormal, you're unstable. We have the rights to follow you anywhere and tell you that. It's a United States federal right. Florida and other places, they did catch some of the interstate stalking. People with IDs, say from Colorado, where I used to be from, and asking them, don't you think it's a coincidence that you're here screaming, shouting, being questioned about harassing him, and you're from the same place? You're from at least the same state, and then there's multitudes of you. So, the people from Colorado ain't just the only ones. Ohio and Columbus, Ohio, has been said many years, even through other law enforcement agencies externally, and just personally sought for myself of what they paid attention to, and where the roots of the cause is Columbus, Ohio, which spread into Colorado Springs, Colorado. Not saying that it didn't have its problems, adding, it's just so mixed up and complex, but no matter what, one iterating to the other to cause the reactions to happen. No matter what reaction comes from it, as long as it was reacted out towards myself. Check this stuff out. I just want to roll through it. You see 164 there, hopefully it never changes in the future, and anything else that happens. Um, Sorry about the lingo. Some of those weird little indents there has actual good tidbit information to it. Something with German and Germanic situations for myself, I'm not allowed to touch anything German whatsoever either. I'm talking about it, and it is being talked about. Somebody is saying, somebody is implying I am not allowed to understand anything German. My stepfather was German. They're trying to say I disrespected him, so I don't have a right to understand life because I wanted to disrespect or I disrespected. And amongst their German people, that disrespect says they got the rights to ridicule, control, and even if they're not part of his family, they're German, so they're going to take on the situation as from one German to another. Like German Village, Columbus, Ohio, having harsh times down there. I've had bad food from there almost every takeout, no matter where I'm at. Even the stores, local shops. There's been multitudes of complaints from the pizzerias down there. I can go elsewhere and more than likely get a better pizza. And, oh, it could be just that place. Nah, it's been directly said and related to the German neighbors that I have that are also implying that they're undercover law enforcement. And hey, buddy, we got all the tricks that we need. We can play mind games on you 24/7. You don't have no legal backing. I don't have an ability to stand against them. We broke you down mentally and everything else. Even if it was illegal, prove it. Anyways, just gonna go through some of these. You can see, my information, feel attacked, the most powerful psychiatric survivors movement, nail fungus, brain damage caused by ECT, what I keep saying, implants and electroshocks. That's not on paperwork. They intentionally covered up the situation again. Whatever, buddy. Law enforcement has the rights to do that. What's that? Cover up an implant that's shocking somebody's body, mind, neuromodulator that nobody, I go in to get medical care. If I go to say I think something's wrong, we'll treat you as psychiatric. If I go in and say, hey, I don't know what's wrong, well then you're still psychiatric because there's nothing wrong with you, but there's no exposure of the device to say, or the implants to say, hey, this is causing a side effect. You would think if they had the lawful right to utilize it as lawful restraint or some law enforcement to incapacitate the mind to make it, which there is research subjects. If you look into it, it's on my website, Target of Unlawful Acts, that they was researching in 2015, and it's even prior to that. But they're researching neuromodulators and deep brain stimulators for criminals. And maybe being allowed to allow some criminals back in public with these devices implanted. But they had consent from those people. Those people would be able to go into a doctor and say, hey, I think something's off. I don't have that ability. I haven't had that ability. And it has completely destroyed me. It has lifely destroyed me. It has physically destroyed me to the point when it comes to the point of diagnosis is now I guarantee in the future it's going to be blown off as something else, but no matter what, the neuromodulator calls the situation, the deep brain stimulation, the body stimulations, everything else. Anyways, the whole point of this video though was all of these bookmarks. I have screenshots from prior I may add to this video, and that was even probably 3 hours ago. And that is, I only had 2 favorites. I think I have some screenshots maybe months ago. I won't say I don't know. I don't know if they're still there or how far I have to look. I mean, I got tons of things to search through. But if I can get a hold of those, I'll clip them and try to put them in somewhere where they can be seen, where I'm saying this is the timeline I'm saying, and this is how long. Here's this day, here's that day, here's another day. It is not a one-day excuse, maybe something fouled up. This is months and months and months of stuff being fouled up to where I can't get back to the information and bookmarks that I was looking up. Somebody trying to create a psychotic situation, a psychological brainwashing, or no matter what they're doing, mental assault, psychiatric assault. You can't get to it. We'll understand it better than you. Challenge you to it and then allow you to look it up. That's the way we're working it. You don't have the rights to learn for yourself. We control, we own you. I'm done with it. Peace, y'all.